Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with a quick update on Bitcoin. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. Alright, so here we got, actually let's start off on the daily here real quick. So we got Bitcoin on the daily. I'm looking at the Bitstamp chart, and as you can see, we are putting in a higher high on the micro, currently at about 16,154, still above the 8, which is above the 21. We have a strong trending parabolic SAR to the upside. We are in the bullish control zone. We have gotten a sell signal a couple times, but not the exit from the control zone, which is what we like to see. The hard sell, the red slope, and then leaving the bullish control zone. We did put in 2 red histograms in a row multiple times throughout this trend and started to show signs of exhaustion, but are still trending to the upside. Although I do think we're getting closer to the top than we were to the bottom, obviously. So, but if we flip over here now to the 4-hour, you'll see that we did just flip over the 4-hour parabolic SAR from green to red, which is the first sign that we are going to get at least a pullback, if not, you know, a retracement for like the entire structure. But once again, one of the things I like to pay attention to, one of the most important indicators, the TJD TD MACD. Once we put in this green histogram, flip it over, 2 red slope lines, massive sell-off. We come back up, retest, fail to get back above the slope line, flip it over red, but we're actually able to maintain it with that violent movement back to the upside. We got back above it, but now here we are selling off again, 2 red histograms in a row, and now we flipped it back over red this time. And you'll see a common pattern. What happens typically, we get a big push up, we get an attempted retest, like peak, come back up, and then we fail. And then we get one more time where we like slightly get above it, and then we fail, and then we'll come back up and then get above it again while it's red, fail again, and then we'll usually get the negative histogram, at which point in time we can reset and start moving to the upside. So that is what I'm expecting to happen right now. Most important thing to pay attention to, although we have one sign here saying sell, one sign here saying sell, and then of course now we're flipping over the slope red on the TJD Stoch slope. We got the hard sell. We need to wait till we exit that bullish control zone, get the confirmation. We can also check out the RSI. We now have the RSI and the EMA of the RSI. The RSI is now below the EMA of the RSI. We usually get the white come back up, retest, and then fails to get back above the EMA, and then we'll get a violent sell-off. So at this point in time, we're starting to get multiple things pointing to the downside, although we are still on top of the 8 moving average for now. We did come down and basically get the test of the 21. If this fails, if we close below the 8, I would expect us to come all the way down to the 21, 15,887, and then the next target would be our 50 at 15,530 and 15,362. In the event that we do get like a violent sell-off, the 89 is at 14,880, and then finally we have the 200s down here in like the 13,750 range. So definitely paying attention to those, as there is potential in the future that we would be retesting one of those. And then if we just flip over, check out Ethereum, you will notice that Ethereum, the chart has been very easy to read. We basically put in a high right here, put in a higher high right here, and then we just closed now, slightly higher than the previous high. And then if we pull this up here, we had a high, we had a lower high, and now here we're putting in another lower high, flipping over the TJD, the slope line, negative, red. So we basically have like a triple divergence. Essentially failed to get the measured move breakout of this triangle that was forming, and looks more convincing than not that we are in fact going to be selling off in the near future. I went through CoinMarketCap and just checked out like the top like 30 altcoins basically, and if you pay attention to the top 30 altcoins, you'll see that they were pretty much all looking bad. None of them were doing nearly as well as Bitcoin, which tells me that the money is flowing back into Bitcoin from the altcoins. It means like more realistically than not, the trend is like getting closer to topping out. So now let's check out Bitcoin dominance. Here we have the weekly Bitcoin dominance chart. Just like we've been talking about, we came up, tested the 89, made it up to the 200s, failed to get above the 200s, retested, and now here we are retesting one more time. We are above the 200 simple, but we have not been able to get above the 200 exponential. So if we see a violent sell-off, it's likely that we do break through that, as like a lot more of the altcoin money would flow into Bitcoin. But we are still in a strong trending move to the upside. We have the multiple green parabolics on the TJD TD MACD, and we're flipping over past the slope line. Potentially going to turn it blue if we can stay above it long enough. And then here you'll see a strong trend on the Stoch slope as well. And once again, the moving averages are crossing up. We have the 8 cross above the 21, getting ready to cross above the 89 as well. So if we can continue on to the upside here, we will continue to flip these back over and get a potentially strong trending move back up to the next resistance, which we are probably headed back to like the 75% region. Would be like our next main resistance up here. And then, in the event that we get above that, we're looking at like 88%. I don't know if we'll end up retesting areas of like 95%. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion, but it's definitely possible. And then here we have the total Bitcoin market cap. We are putting in another high as far as this trend is concerned. We're essentially showing an indecision candle here on the top of the daily. We do still have a strong trending move to the upside on the indicators, but we are at the top of the range. So we'll have to see how the market cap continues to grow, or if we start seeing a sell-off. We are currently in the 458 billion range. So we'll have to see how that goes. But the previous top back here was like that 384 billion. And we are still in relation to the overall trend, not in a bad shape at all, honestly. We're like basically touching back up on that area, which we essentially consolidated before the massive sell-off at about 534 billion. So we're just shy, about like 75 billion short of the previous monthly close. So still a little time left in this month, about halfway through, but we are in a strong trending move to the upside on all the indicators as well. And then just flipping over and checking out the DXY. We are just continuing to do the same thing. We basically bottomed out here, put in a second bottom or double bottom, just continuing to sit along this range. We are currently below the slope line, which if we stay below it long enough, we will flip it back over red. And then we are also at the bottom, essentially like lower range of a sell-off on the TJD Stoch slope. So it looks like potentially in the future this would be bottoming out once again and then potentially testing back up. This time we've gotten rejected twice by the 89. I would expect either another rejection by the 89 when we come up here, or a potential move back up and finally test the 200. So and then just taking a look at silver as well. Silver is essentially just consolidating inside this range. Had like that little dump off, retested the breakdown. That was our support resistance flip. We did put in a low down here, another low, and then potentially come back down for another low, higher each time. And then if you go by candle closes, once again we put in a low, a higher low, and then potentially come back down to like that $24, $23.60 range, and put in another low. But it's starting to look more and more like this is going to be pushing back to the upside in the near future. The next main move I'm looking for is somewhere in the range of 26.60 to like 27.15. But in all reality, I would expect this, if we come back up there and put in another higher low, I would really expect us to come back up to retest like that 28.50 range. So, but if you're paying attention, looking to buy silver or gold, it is still very difficult to buy it for a reasonable price. Most areas you're looking at like $3.50 over spot, which is still putting in like the $28-$29 range. So it tells you that the charts are not quite as accurate as actual demand is. So but there you have it, guys. Just a quick one today. I'm feeling slightly better, slowly recovering, getting awfully fatigued and tired of dealing with this, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with it much more severely than I am. And I know there's a lot of impending lockdowns and higher case numbers and all that stuff, so maybe I'm lucky that I got into it a little earlier and I can get through it before people. But at this point in time, I'm very careful, and I suggest everyone else do the same, because this thing it's more serious than people are acting like, or they're trying to spin. I know there's been like a lot of partisan, like basically like manipulation or partisan actions based on the election and everything, essentially like in term with the CV and everything. And it's very unfortunate. Around the world, I know people are getting exhausted with this, especially coming up towards the holidays, but it's time to realize that reality has set in, and it's not going to be like other years. Hopefully by next year it will be back to normal, but you need to start making plans accordingly, that like Thanksgiving and Christmas or whatever holidays you celebrate are probably not going to be what you're used to, And as unfortunate as it is, it's very important that you have a realistic expectation, and make sure you keep your heads up and everything. Sometimes the holidays can be difficult times for people. If they've lost family members, or in this case, not getting to see family members. There's a lot of reasons to that you could be sad or depressed or whatever around these times. Losing your job or losing a family member or whatever. But it's important you keep your heads up and just think about what you do have. Good practice is just every day when you wake up, just think about the things that you're thankful for in your life or that you're grateful for. Whether it's your health or your loved ones or your house or your car or whatever it is. It can be material. It can be whatever you want. But keeps things in perspective if you just wake up and spend a couple minutes, clear your mind, and just think about what's important in your life. Because the truth is, if you got meals on the table and somebody that loves you out there, like, you're probably in better shape than a lot of people are this time of year. With everything going on. So anything on that top of your health and your family is probably icing on the cake. So if you got a roof over your head and a full stomach, at least a couple meals a day, and somebody that cares about you or you care about, I'd say you're probably doing all right. So don't bum yourself out if you missed out on profits or lost a job or not going to get to see your family this holiday. Instead, just be grateful for the things you do have, and if you have stuff that you can share with others, it's a great time to show that generosity and keep that humanity real. And sometimes doing things like that make you feel better than when somebody does something for you. So, well, there you have it, guys. A little perspective, a little bit of TA, crypto trend trader. You know what I'm keeping my eye out for. There's definitely some action in these markets, and loving this volatility lately. Loving this push to the upside. Definitely been a very nice bullish move. Much more bullish than I was expecting, but as long as you're not a no coiner out there, you obviously did very well off of this. So time to rake in some of those profits. Like always, the most important thing is protecting your principal, and just be careful of that greed bug. Sometimes it gets under us, and I know people had expressed a little bit about being upset about selling too soon or selling too much, or getting stopped out on a couple shorts. And the truth is, if you're not losing overall consistently, there's nothing to be sad about. Sometimes you're not going to make as much profits as you want. Sometimes you're going to lose a little bit. But, the fact of the matter is, just keep playing the game, get better, log those trades, keep your trade journal, and, over time you'll be exponentially better. And you have to think about the long game on this. Sometimes things don't happen that you're expecting to happen in a week or a month or even a year. But when they do happen, just being on the right side of that trade can be exponentially beneficial, or investment or whatever it is. So don't think short term. It's very easy for these institutions and governments and whatnot to manipulate prices for a time, but they cannot do it all the time, forever. So you got people out there that have been saying this, that, and the other for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, and maybe one day they'll be right. You got people out there that's been saying, that we're going to the moon on, stock markets, and we're never going to sell off. They're just going to print more money. Maybe they'll be right, but eventually everybody's right and everybody's wrong. Even a broken clock's right twice a day, like the old expression says. But the important thing is to be right more often than you're wrong. And with proper position size and risk management, you can be profitable even when you are wrong, by just being consistent. So, well, there you have it, guys. Crypto Trend Trader, and I'm out of here.